Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. In this video we're here in sunny England. Damn, it's freezing. But in this video we're going to show you how to use variable ND filters on your drone. So let's roll into it. So what do variable ND filters actually do? What's their purpose? Well, on consumer level drones, all they allow you to do is adjust the shutter speed of your drone's camera, which we're going to look at more in a minute. But on higher professional level drones, they allow you to alter the shutter speed and aperture. Same goes for mirrorless cameras and DSLR cameras. So why do you need to alter your shutter speed, you may be asking? Well, let me show you why. So shutter speed, why would we want to adjust our shutter speed? Well, for two reasons. One is to get this correct exposure. We can darken or lighten our images how we see it rather than letting the camera automatically adjust for itself. The second reason, and probably the more important one, is we can introduce motion blur or remove motion blur as we see fit. You see, the higher or faster the shutter speed, the more sharp the image is going to be, especially with moving objects. And the lower the shutter speed, the more natural looking motion blur or blur we're going to introduce into our image or moving objects. A great starting place for shutter speed is, if you're recording video on your drone, is double that of your recording frame rate. So say you're recording at 30 frames per second, then an ideal starting place for shutter speed will be 1/60th of a second, double that of your frame rate, which is 30. The reason for this is it's going to give you the most natural looking motion blur and be a lot more pleasing to the viewer. Too high a shutter speed and you're going to notice that it's juddering or stuttering in the video. With photography, it's slightly different. You see, when filming on your drone, the shutter speed should really always be double that of your recording frame rate. But with photography, you can get as creative as you like. You see, the lower the shutter speed, the more blur you're going to introduce to moving objects. And the faster the shutter speed, the more they're going to be freeze framed. So it really is down to your creativity with photography and variable ND filters to control that shutter speed to how you want to get that image looking. Now, a standard ND filter restricts the amount of light entering the camera by a set amount. A variable ND filter, as the name suggests, is variable, so you can adjust it to restrict more light entering the camera or allow more light into the camera. So what I'm going to do now is give you a full demonstration of how we adjust the variable ND filter to lower that shutter speed to our ideal recording rate. Now, in this test I'm just going to be doing a video, quick video. I'm not going to show you any photography because that's really down to you and your creativity, but you can use these tips and tricks on how to adjust your variable ND to alter your shutter speed. So let's get into it. Okay, we've got our shutter speed at 1/60th, which is double our recording frame rate of 30. And as you can see, we're overexposed by the meter reading, the histogram and the zebra warnings. If you want more information about these settings, I'll link a video in the top corner now. So we know we're overexposed, so what we need to do is turn off the drone, rotate the variable ND filter to restrict more light, turn the drone back on and check it again. Here you can see that our meter reading's correct now. Our histogram is correct and our overexposure zebras are perfect. Now, the process of rotating the variable ND filter to restrict or allow more light in can take a few minutes, so bear that in mind. And there you go, we have, even though this is a very boring field that I'm filming, it is exposed correctly and we've got the perfect shutter speed to get the most natural looking motion blur. So what is the downside to using variable ND filters over standard ND filters? One is the cost. They normally cost considerably more than a standard ND filter set. And second, depending on the brand and usually the price that you pay for them, they can sometimes add a color cast to your images or video. This particular brand, Polar Pro, they add a very slight green tinge to your images, which is easily removed in post, but it's worth noting. So they're the two downside. They're more expensive and sometimes can add a slight color cast to your image. So there you go, you've learnt about variable ND filters for drones. On consumer drones, all they allow you to adjust is the shutter speed, but if you really want to get the best quality out of your drone's camera, then they are essential in my eyes. Much better than using standard ND filters. You don't have to keep chopping and changing them. You have one filter, stick it on, and you're away. So did I get my recommendation? Depending on the brand, yes. Now, if you've not seen my Polar Pro review test, check it out up here. It's in one of the corners now. But thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. If you'd like to see further videos from myself, check out my channel, and why not subscribe? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch up soon.